Lindsey Graham just pressured every House member to a challenge that they won't be able to refuse by US4Trump.com. Senate Armed Services Committee members Lindsey Graham interviewed with Maria Bartiromo on Sunday Morning Futures in an interview where they discussed President Trump overseas meeting with North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un. During the interview, Graham pressured every House member to a challenge that they won't be able to refuse. Sunday, during the interview, Lindsey Graham, speaking with Maria, said that 7 Democrats laid out a deal led by Senator Chuck Schumer to inform President Trump how to negotiate with Kim Jong-un. He held up the letter while listing off some of the Democrats' demands. President Trump surely doesn't need advice from the Democrats or Senator Chuck Schumer, and the president let Schumer know after blasting him on Twitter. Graham said during the interview, "I embrace that letter as a good deal. Now here's my challenge. Telling the President of the United States what a good deal would look like is very good." He continued, "But you have to help him get that deal," Graham continued. "You gotta help the President convince North Korea and China that this program is going to come to an end, hopefully peacefully. No more kicking the can down the road." Then Graham laid out his challenge. "Here's my challenge to every Democrat and Republican. You need to help the president where you can, not undercut him. Writing a letter telling him what a good deal should be is good only if you're willing to back it up with the use of military force. There's no way that North Korea is ever going to give up their program unless they leave military forces on the table," Graham stated. He continued, "So I'm asking every Democrat who wrote that letter and my Republican colleagues to tell North Korea and China that if diplomacy fails, we will have the president's back. We will authorize military force as a last resort to stop the nuclear threat in North Korea to the American homeland and the world at large." Graham added, "If we are not willing to do that, then we will never get a good deal." Okay, but I don't like it when he's coming out forcefully like that. And how come the Democrats didn't make a fuss when Obama made the deal? How about with Iran and everybody else? The Democrats are just playing dirty. That's all it is.
Pretty incredible morning this morning ahead of this meeting.
Yeah.
Your reaction?
It's amazing. It's a direct result of a maximum pressure campaign. The only reason North Korea is sitting down at the table with Trump is that they believe for the first time that they've got somebody in the White House they don't know how to deal with. And Trump's goal is to eliminate their nuclear missile program, not contain it. And I think he's got North Korea and China's attention. And what would a good deal look like? I want to tell you this. 7 Democratic senators, Senator Schumer led the effort, wrote a letter to President Trump. I have it right here. In this letter, they lay out what a good deal would look like. Give up your nuclear weapons, give up your enrichment program, dismantle your missile capability, anytime, anywhere inspections, any place in North Korea, verifiable. I embrace that letter as a good deal. Now, here's my challenge. Telling the President of the United States what a good deal would look like is very good, but you got to help him get that deal. You got to help the president convince North Korea and China that this program is going to come to an end, hopefully peacefully, but there's no more kicking the can down the road. So here's my challenge to every Democrat and Republican. You need to help the president where you can, not undercut him. Writing a letter telling him what a good deal it should be is good, only if you're willing to back it up with the use of military force. There's no way North Korea is ever going to give up their program unless they believe nuclear military forces on the table. So I'm asking every Democrat who wrote that letter and all my Republican colleagues to tell North Korea and China that if diplomacy fails, We will have the president's back. We'll authorize to use military force as a last resort to stop the nuclear threat in North Korea to the American homeland and the world at large. And if we're not willing to do that, we're never going to get a good deal.
Because we know the pressure works. That kind of pressure, the UN sanctions, U.S. sanctions, has helped. Look, you have to be optimistic about where we are right now.
Yeah,
This president having gotten this North Korean leader to the table is good. But as you say, there's a lot to do and a lot to get done. So how do you convince this dictator to do just that? I mean, what are the practical steps, in your view, that this president can use as tools?
Well, number one, we're not going to let this drag on forever. That I want a win-win. I'm willing to sign a peace treaty to end the Korean War with you, China, and South Korea. I'm willing to guarantee the security of your regime. I'm not here to spread democracy to North Korea, to unify South Korea and North Korea. I'm here to end your nuclear program, your missile program, in a win-win fashion. We need the Congress involved. Democrats never wrote a letter to Obama about what a good deal would look like. I'm really surprised they wanted to do it to Trump, but I'm glad they did, and I'm going to embrace this letter. I hope the president will. But how do you convince North Korea that America's different? Is to have the Congress having President Trump's back, pursuing peace, but let North Korea know that if peace fails, if you play the same old games of talking about giving up your program and backing out and building it up, we're going to use military force to stop this threat as a last resort. So put in place a mechanism for the next year to implement the Schumer letter.
This would be an incredible change to what we've seen in North Korea and obviously the North Korean economy. So this will take structural change over a period of time. Estimates are that this country spends 30 to 50% of its state funds on the military, on its nuclearization program, correct?
Yeah, and in the letter by Schumer, they say give up all your plutonium and your uranium. Well, if you're serious about ending your nuclear program, you don't need plutonium and uranium. We should be able to do that in pretty quick order. The goal here is to dismantle your nuclear program, give up your nuclear weapons, and give up your ballistic missile program. In return, get security guarantees and economic assistance. I agree with the Democratic letter as what a good deal would look like, but I'm here to tell you and everybody else, North Korea is not going to change the way they do business unless they believe that the military option's on the table. President Trump, if he has to, will use military force to end this threat to the American homeland. I want my Democratic colleagues not just telling him what a good deal would look like, but having his back, telling North Korea and China, yes, even the Congress believes it's got to come to an end one way or the other, and Congress prefers diplomacy, supports diplomacy, but we will back our president to end this program by military force as a last resort if we have to. If that were said clearly, then I think we got a good chance to get a good deal. If they're not willing to say that, then they're undercutting President Trump and really stabbing him in the back, which means that we're more likely to have a war.
Well, you are portraying a very clear and serious message. You want your Democratic colleagues to get behind this president.
And Republicans.
And Republicans to support this president. Have you seen that even a little on the left so far?
No, I said this just a few minutes ago, and everybody went nuts on the left. But here, you can't have it both ways. You know, I don't know why they wrote this letter. They sure as hell didn't write one to Obama. I don't know if they're playing a game. I'm going to take them at their word that this letter actually lays out a plan I could support. I'm going to adopt this letter as the American position with some minor changes. Here's the question. Are you willing to do what you can to make sure we achieve peace, not war? The best way to get peace, not war, is to convince North Korea that they're going to be in a war and they will lose it if they don't pursue peace. Everything else before has failed. Nobody in North Korea believed that the past presidents would use military force. If they don't believe Donald Trump will use military force as a last resort, the people in North Korea are making a very big mistake, because he will if he has to. He doesn't want to. And to my Democratic friends, have President Trump's back. I know you don't like him. I know we disagree. But this is a chance to bring the North Korean program to an end in a way that's good for North Korea, good for the world, good for the United States. The least you can do after writing him a letter is to have his back and let North Korea know that you would support military force as a last resort. And if you're not willing to do that, you've done more harm than good.
Well, the only thing that I have a problem with is that I think they should stick their noses out of the business because Trump can handle it. Now all of a sudden the Democrats are up in arms. Where were they with Obama's deal with Iran or with North Korea? Come on. And you know something? I think they all should stick their nose out of this business. And it's not Lindsey Graham to go and make statements of war. Let Donald Trump handle that. We don't need his opinion riling people up, because this message that Lindsey Graham is putting out at the same time can rile up North Korea. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And again, thank you so much for watching.